Charlene asks, one of my biggest challenges with managing our church database is keeping all of our parishioner info accurate. It seems like I'm always running across misspelled names of people whose emails bounced or keep bouncing. It can be really frustrating. Will I ever have a perfect, quote unquote, church database?
Charlene, you will probably never have a perfect church database, and that's okay. Great question. Obviously, a struggle a lot of church leaders have all the time because it can cause a lot of annoyances and pain points whenever you have outdated information in your database or you feel like it's just not reliable and that useful for you. It will never be perfect, and this is where you got to be careful because I've seen this happen a lot where a certain IT person has the goal of making this perfect, and they end up with like hardly anything in their database at all because they've just closed it down so much and locked it down in terms of who can access it and what they can do. And, your members can't update anything or it's not very user friendly, but hey, at least the data in it is perfect. So we have to step back and say the point of having a church is not to have a perfect database. That's not our goal. It's not the end, right? Having an up-to-date or reasonably up-to-date database is a means to another end. So it's a means to an end typically of building better relationships with your members. In some cases, there's legal requirements. We need to report giving. We need to send them a donation receipt, and how much for tax purposes and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes it's sacramental. Like it is important that we have, these things right. These are really important documents or things to document. So, there's different varying degrees of how important some of this data is for different reasons. But ultimately, this is to, it's like the other question, which we'll tackle this on another show sometime too. It'll be a good one. But what does it mean to be a member of your community? What does it mean to be registered? Why is that important? What's our goal of all those kinds of things? So again, that's another question, but it's good to step back and say, what's the purpose of this database in the first place? Now, that said, there are tools that can help you keep it more up to date. And the more up to date it is, the more useful it is for you because you can rely on the information and you can do some really powerful things with it. That's something we've added in when we added Flocknote People as an add-on to Flocknote. This was something we wanted to totally do differently than any other database tool has done before. And the way we describe it is most database tools are sort of database first. They started with the database. That was their purpose, was to have a database of information. And then they added on an interface for members to log in and change their information, maybe. They added in ways to communicate. Whereas Flocknote, we flip that totally around the other way, and we do it as a communications first approach. And that means you focus on having good, solid communications, which means you have a connection with the person, with the member of your community.